right. Just give me a moment here. All right, just one moment. I'm just trying to do something here. Just give me 1 second. I'll get this thing started. All right. I was trying to. All right, I was trying to stream onto TradingView, but obviously I couldn't do that. All right, so let's get this thing started. Hey everyone, how's everyone doing? Mark here. Thank you for joining me for another GreenBridge market analysis. Like I said, I'm just a little. Hold on, I'm just a little. Hold on, I gotta turn this other stream off here. Okay, just give me 1 second. Yeah. All right, I'm just going to try something again real quick. Hold on, let me see if it works. No, all right, never mind. Okay, I'm going to stop with this. I'm going to get started here on the stream. All right, thanks for your patience, everyone. Okay, so I'm doing something a little different today. All right, I want to welcome you all. First of all, thank you for joining me. It's a live stream. I'm planning to broadcast onto TradingView at the same time, and obviously my connection didn't work, but that's why I'm a little bit disorganized here for a moment, but we're going to get this started. So for those of you that are new, here I am. Hey everyone. So I'm going to be in these videos a little bit more now, and I want to welcome you. So if you're new to this, this is how it works. You can share your symbol or your market or the coin that you're interested in the chat now. So once I finish my portion of the analysis, then I can spend more time on answering questions, okay? So put that in the channel now, and I'll get to them. So I'm gonna spend some time here on Bitcoin, obviously, the stock market, a couple of stocks, and then gold, of course, and then I'm gonna get to your questions. I wanna spend more time on your questions than on the analysis portion, okay? So there's a lot to talk about here. Now, real quick, let's get this thing started. This is for educational purposes only, so let me show you that. Educational purposes only. For investment advice, please consult a licensed investment advisor. Okay, cool, here we are. So we're going to be, let's start off with Bitcoin. Now, of course, you know, today's Monday. And on Monday, I go over the economic calendar. You know, since TradingView has like house rules, I'm not on TradingView right now at the moment, but when I am, I'm probably not going to be able to show the economic calendar. So, you know, I'll show it real quick right now so you guys can see it. But I'm probably not going to be able to show this because, you know, they probably won't appreciate me showing a third-party website. Anyway, but I'll go over the main things. Again, this is important if you are trading Forex or CFDs or anything like that. You should at least be aware of what's economically scheduled. Now, of course, TradingView has their own economic calendar and it has stock earnings on there and all that stuff. But I just like to use this one because it's just quick and simple. And I don't need to see all the stock earnings, especially if I'm not in those stocks. All right, so real quick, what do we have on the 22nd? So these came out, you know, the GBP Prime Minister Boris Johnson's speech, whatever, okay, ECB President Lagarde, okay, whatever. These obviously aren't big market movers. The euro has been strong, by the way, okay? We haven't called any trades. The pound and the euro have been very strong, but Forex has been tough, and there's just been so many opportunities in other markets that we've been kind of holding off on Forex. Okay, cool. So then we have what? On the 23rd, Bank of Canada, Governor Macklem's speech. Again, these aren't big deals. The Royal Bank of New Zealand rate statement. That could move some markets, you know, if you're in the New Zealand or maybe the Aussie, they have the rate decision. That could be something, but typically they're not huge market movers. I mean, not even the US rate decision has been a major market mover in recent times. So just something to keep in mind. You know, you get like maybe a little jitter here and there, but it's nothing like it used to be. All right, so for the US on the 25th, we have GDP, annualized, okay, whatever. We have, okay. So we don't really have anything special here this week. It's pretty quiet in terms of economic reports, okay? So that's good for, you know, if there are setups, then that's something that you don't have to worry about. All right, now let's talk about Bitcoin. Let's get right into it. All right, now, again, so if you have any questions, please share them in the channel. And when I get through the chat, I'm going to try to answer as many questions as I can. Like I said, when I'm streaming on TradingView, you know, because they have like the whole streaming thing. And when I'm streaming on there, you know, I'm going to have to kind of do things a little differently. Obviously, I can't talk about a lot of the things that I talk about on here. But since I'm not on there at the moment, if you'd like to learn more about GreenBridge, I have all the information on the links below. If you click on the description portion of this video, you can read all about what we do and all the useful links and everything else. So please check that out. We do have a 7-day free trial. I'm not going to be able to say that when I'm streaming on TradingView. Okay, anyway. All right, so let's talk about Bitcoin and the situation that's going on over here right now. Let me move this mic a little bit, all right? People complained about that mic. That's why I moved it. Yeah, there we go. All right, cool. So thanks, everyone. All right, let's take a look here. And by the way, if you like the video that I'm doing, please press the like button and also register for the channel here if you'd like to get email notifications from YouTube every time I do one of these, and Talking Markets, which is tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So Bitcoin had this nasty pullback. Now, I've been talking about this. We've been talking about this, that it can come out of nowhere. There it is. Now, people have been asking, is this the time to buy? Was it time to buy earlier, even though it went straight to the support that I talked about on my TradingView analysis, that 45K area between 45 and 50K went straight there and turned right around, right? Is that a time to buy? Look, for shorter time frame strategies like day trading or swing trading, well, not even swing trading, but day trading, okay, that would make sense. Swing trading, there's a problem here. The problem is the candle is still open. So I'm not going to make a judgment on an open candle because things change very quickly, as we all know. So this shakes a lot of people out. What do we make of this candle right now? Well, look, 57K is obviously, there's a resistance there because selling came in. No one even knows why this thing sold off. They're saying, oh, Elon Musk, blah, 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 this stuff. That doesn't make any sense because all day yesterday when I was watching this thing, it was just pushing high after high after high intraday. So this is just irrational. It's the buying ran out and people sold, right? It's that simple. So there's no reason to overcomplicate this thing. What we are interested in are support and resistance levels and where we can measure risk from. So as you can see on my chart, I have some blue boxes, okay, that I drew in here. And these blue boxes are important because they're inflection points, right? So we tested this one very quickly, but it did not give us any type of setup or anything. So we can't take a swing trade based on that. I'm not going to step in front of it when it does something like this. Now, you know, we mess around up here again and we get another sell signal. Okay, fine. That's a place to unload more if you have inventory. Hopefully you've been unloading the whole time here. Now, here's the thing. You know, in order to get a swing trade going, I need to see stability, I need to see a setup, and I need to see it at the right location. Okay? Now, that does not mean that you can't step into something like this for inventory when it has one of these dramatic moves that are very quick. Okay? We always talk about the difference between swing trading and position trading. Position trading is like investing. So when you have a sharp pullback, I mean, this was what, almost 10,000 points at one point? What's the high to the low? What's the range of this candle? 57.5 is the high. The low is 47.4. That's 10,000 points, okay, basically. So if you take a small bite when it looks its worst, or maybe you have a limit order at, you know, maybe you had a limit order at 50K to take a small bite, then that's fine because you're buying inventory and you're buying it at a better price than the highs, okay? Nothing wrong with that. The thing is this candle, even if it closes like this, yes, that's a pin bar. Yes, it may go higher, but I'm not interested in buying up in these areas. People are getting very frustrated. People are, unhappy that they missed most of the move, and they're getting antsy, and they want to buy as it goes higher and higher. But this is the risk you're facing. You're facing this dramatic pullback. Now, if this candle closes like this, and we get an inside bar tomorrow, let's say we get like this little inside bar situation, right? And the inside bar looks like this. Okay, let's say it looks something like that. And we take out the low the next day. That's a sell signal off of a resistance. I don't want to be involved in that for a swing trade. Definitely not. So I want to see support tested, and I want to see structure at the support. That's a pullback, and that's where I'd be interested in a new swing trade long. And that goes for all the altcoins that follow this thing. Now, many of you that have been following us for a while, you know pretty much what we do, right? We wait for a pullback, or we wait for a support level. For example, if we're looking to buy, we wait for a setup, we wait for a confirmation, and then we set up the trade, right? We send it out by text and by email. So we've also been talking about how the alts, most of them, follow the leader, Bitcoin. They don't do their own thing like many stocks. Like you can have pharma stocks, you can have the electric vehicle stocks, you can have the cannabis stocks. All these different sectors have a tendency to do their own thing against the S&P because they're not highly correlated sectors, right? They have their own variables driving them. The coins are a different story. They don't have that. Let's take a quick look. So Litecoin, all right? Litecoin, pull back just like Bitcoin. Oh, interesting. Okay, let's take a look at DOT, right? This is a swing trade I sent out, which went to all three targets, by the way. Well, that's not a very good example. That's what happens when you get involved with exchanges that like to play games. So look, DOT had the same type of pullback as Bitcoin. Is this not follow the leader? All right, let's take a look at some other ones. Some other ones that have been very popular recently and everyone's been going crazy about. Okay, AVAX. I've been watching this thing. This thing, it pulled this is much more attractive compared to the other ones because at least it's in a better location. But people want to be in, they get all excited up in here, right? And if you bought up in here, now you get stuck with this. I don't want to be at the mercy of the market. I'm not interested in being stuck in these situations as a swing trader. Okay, as an inventory management, as a position trader, if you're buying into this carefully, that's a different story, but you can't overdo it. All right, so those are a couple of the altcoins. I'm sure you got some questions in here about alts, so we're going to take a look. I'm going to take a look at them. Make sure if it's an altcoin, just make sure you put like USD or USDT after it so I know and I don't spend 3 hours on a stock that no one wants to see. Okay, so another coin. Let's take a look. eGold, E-G-L-D, right? USD. I mean, look at this. Same type of situation. Everyone gets all excited when it does this, but no one's interested when it does this. Now, these are setting up much better than something like Litecoin. All right. Now, will they go somewhere? Maybe. But I don't think these are the best candidates for swing trades, especially if Bitcoin starts messing around. Because no matter what setup you get in these coins, if Bitcoin doesn't go, these are not going to go. So this is what you need to take away from this. If Bitcoin has a setup, let's go back to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin pulls back, okay, Bitcoin pulls back and continues to pull back. Let's say Bitcoin just continues to pull back and it starts messing around here. I don't care what setup is showing up in these altcoins. They're going to suffer, okay? So they don't trade on their own. There's no reason for us to send out a trade in AVAX if there's a setup, if Bitcoin is not setting up. So if you want to trade AVAX, for example, or you want to trade DOT, or you want to trade some other coin, Bitcoin should be your guide. If there's no setup in Bitcoin, you should probably not swing trade that altcoin. If there's a setup in Bitcoin and you'd rather take an altcoin instead, there you go. But Bitcoin needs to lead. That's a very important thing, okay? That we go over that over and over and over, and I still get messages from people asking for individual trades in altcoins, and buying an altcoin and buying a Bitcoin at the same time is the same trade. It's just like buying the euro and the pound against the dollar, or buying the euro and shorting the franc. It's the same trade, all right? And it's just putting on more risk in the same, for the same outcome. It doesn't make sense. All right, so that's Bitcoin. Let me see what I have here in the chat. Hey, Shashank, XRP. Okay, I'm going to take a look. Hey, Ricky, Glenn, good to see you. Okay, cool. Jay, hey, cool. All right. Andre, all right, I see some stocks in here. Okay, cool. So again, if you guys, oh, Glenn, were you the one that made fun of me with the mic? Someone made fun of me, and that's why I moved it. Okay, that's why the mic is actually right here. That's why I moved it. Someone in the chat made fun of me because I had this stupid mic like right in my face here, and so I moved it. Okay. Just my 2 cents. It would give you a better view over the entire market. Glenn, what are you talking about? If F2 pool and Chinese markets reopening. Oh, okay. Well, many followed as you are suggesting. Okay, so just my 2 cents. It would give you a better view over the entire market. I'm not sure what you're referring to there, Glenn. Maybe you could be more specific. Okay, so let's take a look. I went over a couple of altcoins, covered Bitcoin. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. Look at this. This is new information. Didn't look like this earlier. Interesting. Okay, I sent out a swing trade too. I wonder how that swing trade's doing. Let's see. It was pub M. Let me just see that real quick. How's that? Oh, look at that. It's doing well. I sent that out earlier to our members. Okay. NSX, right? So look at this. Interesting. Minus 276 points. When I was looking at it earlier, it wasn't doing that, right? But okay, cool. This is no surprise, really. Let's take a look at the S&P. S&P 500. Oh, okay. The S&P 500 is not reacting. This is something. Is this thing broken? Maybe this chart's broken because how can the NASDAQ look like that and the S&P look like this? That's strange. Okay. Anyway, maybe that's a bad tick on the NASDAQ chart. Sometimes, you know, sometimes these feeds aren't the most reliable. But hey, I mean, I guess that's the case. I don't know. Anyway, the point is this. The S&P needs to follow through. Otherwise, that NASDAQ's not going to keep going. They can't not follow each other, right? They're connected. So if the S&P stays above this support, it's to go along in stocks, right? So that's why, like, for example, that one that I sent out, Pub M, you know, again, that was based on structure, on price structure and the setup and everything else. You guys know, the guys that have been following me, you guys know what we look for. That's what that was set up on. And, you know, that thing's doing okay now. What do we close that here? We're at 49.23. Wow. Okay. That I didn't expect it to do that so quickly. That's the first target, basically. Okay. That's interesting. So, yeah, you can't take that one now, by the way. I mean, if you didn't get it, and my stream is going nuts too. Oh, man. Technology. Technology. Oh, hold on, people. My stream, I see my stream is giving me a hard time here. All right. So, again, with the stock market, here's the thing. If this is right, if this candle is correct on the all right, I should be back now. Aries. All right, I'm going to try this again now. All right. So like I said, real quick, maybe you guys can hear this while this thing tries to go back on. But during the time of day, if the weather's not good outside. All right, I'm going to try this again. Right, well, the same thing is happening for me here. Like 1 minute it works, and then it goes back to, you know, bounces me off. All right, so hold on. Yeah, and Paul, you know what? That occurs. Yeah, right. No, it's the weather. It's actually the weather. Because I know this always happens when the weather is bad here. I know it's particularly when the weather is not good. It's my internet. It's not YouTube. It's my connection. My internet connection is interfered with when the whole world is using the same. You know, it's like a bandwidth situation here. I notice every time when the weather's bad and everyone is home. Around this time, it's like peak internet usage time. It's my internet provider. We've gone through this too with the Talking Market Show at the same time. All right, I'm going to try to run through this. Let's see if I can do this. I'm going to try to go through this. Oh, I see it's still buffering. Okay, I'm going to try to go through this. Okay. All right, I'm going to try this again. Going this time a little bit here when it comes back on. All right, like my bit rate is the stream, the speed is very slow. That's what's going on here. Try this again. Well, tomorrow's Talking Markets, so the next time I'll be able to do the stream would be Thursday. Well, let's just give it a minute here. Let's give it a chance. All right, I think I'm on here. All right, I think I'm on for a bit. Let me just try to do this real quick. All right, it's streaming again. It's buffering. Oh wait, hold on. I'm getting some stability back here. All right, I got some stability back here. No, my cell phone's even worse. My cell phone's even worse. No, it's coming back. I'm telling you, it's the situation here with the way the cable is set up and the usage, the peak usage. That's what it is. If I was doing this at 3 a.m., I probably wouldn't be having this problem. Okay. All right, here we go. So I see some stability. Let me try to get through this quick now. All right, so I went through the S&P pretty much. Now let me just talk about, let me just go back to that NASDAQ real quick. And I mean, minus 300 points. All right, that's very interesting. Hold on, let me come back in here. I just thought maybe they didn't like my face or something, and they were like cutting me off. Yeah, no, it's the connection thing. All right, anyway, let's do this. All right, so the Nasdaq's getting hammered right now as we speak, and that's interesting. Let's just see what's going on. Where is that coming from? Right? Is it Google? No. Let's see. Amazon. Obviously, a leader could be Tesla. That's getting nice and hammered right there. Let's take a look at Facebook. Let's see what's. Oh, it's not Facebook. How about Amazon? Could be Amazon. All right. The point is, the market's starting to pull back here, and with that S&P, there's some interesting stuff going on along with this. So either the S&P is going to have to catch up or the NASDAQ's going to bounce back, right? So either way, if we see buy setups in certain stocks, then it's still okay to take some of them as long as that S&P is holding. The question we always have to ask is how correlated is it with the S&P, the stock, right? That stock that I sent out earlier today, PubM, that wasn't a high correlation stock. All right, they are a software company, they do advertising. They're not going to be heavily correlated to the S&P compared to something like Qualcomm, or something like that. And speaking of Qualcomm, let's see what that's doing. Yeah, see what I mean? See Qualcomm getting hammered over here? So that's what I'm talking about. Look, I'm going to point to it. I'm going to point to it. Can you see my hand there? No, you can't really see it. All right, see? Pointing to Qualcomm. That's a market stock. That's when the market gets hammered. That's what the stock should be doing when it's highly correlated. All right, anyway, so I just wanted to run through a couple of those. All right, let me get to your questions now. Oh, yeah, gold, real quick. All right, now I think I covered most of the points that I wanted to make. Oh, yeah, Groupon. Groupon, look at this. Look at this. Who is in Groupon? I sent this one out a week ago. Right? You want to see the orders? Where are my orders? There they are. I sent this out a week ago. How am I streaming okay? Yeah, I'm streaming okay. All right, look at this. Buy stop was at 36.50. This thing is at 41.02. We reached 2 targets since I sent this out. Not bad. I know some people got into Groupon, but this was, again, a technical setup. I'm not going by fundamentals here. These are technical setups. It was a swing trade and nice move on Groupon. I hope some of you got into that. Anyway, so there are a couple of stocks. This is not a highly correlated market stock. As you can see, the thing is breaking out while the NASDAQ looks like complete garbage, right? That's the difference between these garbage altcoins and stocks. Stocks can do their own thing, like Groupon, right? Like PubM. do their own thing. That's why I don't like calling altcoin swing trades if Bitcoin doesn't agree, okay? So, and that's really more for new people. Most of you here that have been following me for a while, you know that. All right, cool. So let's, Anthony, I think you got the group on. I think you were the guy that mentioned it in the chat. Cool. All right, so that's enough of those. Let's take a look at gold real quick because I do want to spend more time on your questions. Look at gold. Now, I wanted to call this out. And again, gold is tricky. I wanted to call it on Friday, but okay. So again, it's just that the internet connection here is not very stable. That's what it is. Again, it's a function of the weather. So I apologize. It's snowing outside. All right. It's like when I initially start the stream, it's okay, and then once it goes on for like a minute. Okay, I'm gonna try that. Yeah, I'm gonna try that. See, the internet's trying to tell me I have a face for radio. It may not like my my video. I'm gonna try that. I'm just gonna show the chart only. Maybe this really has something to do with the weather here because of the snow, right? Because I notice. No, it's the weather. I'm telling you guys, it's the weather. I'm gonna try to get through this. All right, I'm gonna try to get through this and see how far I can go. Okay, because I know it'll get stable again. We just have to be patient. Get stable. I'm not gonna do the offline thing. It's like the other one was NEM, Newmont Mining. Though we've been building inventory in those. Now I've been telling members you don't want to overload on them, right? So once you reach your limit, like for example, if your limit was to buy 25 shares, for example, right? That would. Okay, so this thing says I'm back. All right, let's try this again. I'm very stubborn. I'm going to finish this. All right, so anyway, again, anyone that sticks around, I appreciate it. Okay, we're going to just try to get through this because I want to answer your questions. All right, so my point with gold was, again, you don't want to overload on gold. Even if gold goes, if gold goes to some ridiculously low price, you don't want to get overexposed like into anything. So you have to have limits on your inventory. That's how you control the risk. And like, so for example, Michael was saying that he had reached his limit. Now, there are exceptions, but the exception has to be a very unusual and extreme situation. So for example, if gold goes to 1650, I would be willing to take some of my side capital. I would be willing to take some of my side capital and put it into some of these stocks if gold were to make such an extreme move, okay, like 1650. But until it does something like that, I have enough, right? And that's how you control your risk and prevent becoming at the mercy of the market, because markets are irrational. What if gold goes to 1200? I mean, it's not likely, but what if? It can happen. I don't want to have an overload of gold stocks and then see my account get wiped out, right? So that's why you have to have some sort of control of risk, and you have to keep things proportional. All right, so that's the thing with the mining stocks. I like the mining stocks a lot. They're great for inventory building right now, because when gold goes to 2,000 and beyond, which is likely to do, especially based on that bigger picture. All right, let me just go back to that bigger picture in gold real quick. And I mean, based on this bigger picture, XAU, USD, look at this. This is not bearish, okay? Again, I have to point that out. I have to zoom out. It's not bearish. We get that next leg higher, right? This is wave 4. We get that wave 5. It can be very dramatic, just like Bitcoin, okay? and you know, we can see 3,000. It's possible. So I want to be in when that occurs, and I want to be distributing risk. Now, if gold starts pushing 2,000 or 2,500, everyone's going to get excited about gold again. Everyone's, oh, gold is the new Bitcoin. Oh, gold is the new cannabis sector. Oh, gold, right, gold and silver. Silver's going to go to 500 because blah, 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 blah. That's when you should be unloading. And then your friend will call you, hey, should I invest in gold? You know, no, you should not. Where were you when gold was pushing 1750? Okay, so that's the contrarian point of view, and that's how you have to work with these things. All right, so that's enough of that. Let's get to your questions while I have some stable internet here. And again, I apologize. I have to apologize for Comcast. They do suck. I'm not a big fan. Okay, but I have no choice. So let's get into what your questions here. Okay, so I see some of my questions were cut off. So I'm going back and I see Glenn Baker put a question in there, and the stuff before that's cut off. So all right, so I'm going to go from there. Glenn Baker, just my 2 cents, it would give you a better view of the market. So Glenn, I was asking you a question about that, and everything before that's cut off. So the next one here is from Pau, NKLA. Let's take a look. So Nicola, I like Nicola long. Okay, I've been following this carefully. Now Nicola, Workhorse, that whole crew, WWR. FUV, right? That whole crew. For one, they're short float stocks, they're low float stocks, and they have a high short interest. So when there's a spike, as we saw with GameStop and all that stuff, there's the tendency, you know, to get that pile-in effect. And so I'm very interested in Nicola. I was going to call this as a long today, but I found that Pub M, which was a much better setup. But I do like the higher low. I do like the location. I also like this as a long-term options play. What I mean by long-term is 6 months out, okay? So $30 call, 6 months out. You're looking at July, August, something like that. Calls, if you can get them cheap, you know, $30. If you're getting them for less than $2, that's not bad. You have all that time for this thing to have a stupid spike. And that's a lot of time. Okay, it's plenty of time for it to do something like this, and all you need to do is get that spike one time, and your calls, if you especially if you have like 3 or 4 months left in them, your calls will become profitable, and you have to take your money off the table at that point. You know, it's nice to try to ride a home run to see, you know, what if Nicola goes to 60 and you want to hold on to those calls, but you can't bet on that, right? So it's good to buy multiple calls. You know, you buy maybe 2 or 3. When you get the spike, you sell 2, and then you try to hold on to 1 to see if it runs. If it runs, great, that's your winner. If you try to hold on to all 3, you're asking for trouble, all right? Because of, you know, especially with something like this one, which has a tendency to give its moves back. Now, maybe at some point they'll get their act together and it will be more sustainable. But as far as your question, pal, I do like it as a long. We have a good location, and the general recent structure is favorable. We just don't have a setup. So in this situation, you know, it tried to pop today, and it's giving it back. We have that bearish pin bar right now. Maybe that's a result of the nasty NASDAQ. I don't know, but I would be open to buying calls. You know, 6 months out or longer, $30 strike, deep out of the money calls in that situation. If we do. I will tell you this, Pau, if we do get a setup in this area, in this $20 area, I will be sending out a swing trade long idea on Nicola, okay? Also, like I said, FUV, another one I'm watching carefully for the same idea. This was a trade of the week that got stopped out. You know, obviously it's getting beat up, so no setup there, but I like the location. Workhorse, another one. You know, if it stabilizes, that can also be another potential swing trade. The thing is, they're all in the same sector, so I'm not going to call them all. I'm only going to call one. Okay, so anyway, I wanted to mention that. Irina, okay, Uni USD, Band USD, Link. Okay, so Uni. So Uniswap. Now, again, this thing got affected by the whole Bitcoin situation today. There's still, you know, as far as swing trades go, I don't like these. Like I said, if Bitcoin doesn't do its job, then these things, the signals don't mean anything in these things because they don't do their own thing. Okay, they're not like stocks that can do their own thing. So in this situation, as far as levels go, I mean, there's a level here on 21.5 on Uni, and then if that's cleared, you know, you're looking at, what is that, 17.5, and if that's cleared, you know, you're looking at like 9.25. So those are your support levels at the moment. these levels where it is right now, there's really nothing to do here. You know, I don't like these levels for inventory. I just don't like these levels. These things are too hyped and they still follow Bitcoin. So if I was going to buy into these things with inventory, I'd want to see a support level. Like we had one earlier today that was extreme, but you had to have the courage, or you had to have the, you know, the willingness to take your small bite. There's no way to catch this the way like this is unless you're just willing to step in front of it. That's why if you're doing inventory, you have to just know the level, put your order there, and hope for the best. Okay, so that would be one level. And then if you had done something like that, yeah, you'd have a little piece of the action. And if it stabilizes, then you can start adding once it starts breaking resistance levels. But that's why I would handle Uniswap right now. You know, I am interested in some of these garbage coins, but I really want extreme levels. I want them to be hated again. Here's Band, okay, Band USD. The trend is clearly bullish, right? As we all know, these things are overly hyped. Let's talk about support and resistance levels, right? So we have support at, what is this, 11.5 basically. Then we have another support here at, what is that, 14? The 14 area low, right? That area right there. And then you have resistance up in this area here, which is what, $20. So again, you know, these levels, if you're interested in inventory and you want to put orders at these levels, you can do that. But the thing is, when Bitcoin breaks and goes into wave 4, you're going to get filled at these low levels because if you have orders there, because there's going to be no stopping these things. They're just going to sell off, okay, if Bitcoin goes into that broad wave 4. So that's why it's very important to take small bites and have that plan. The small bite situation is basically a plan. You know, you have $1,000, you say, okay, that's 10 purchases of $100, and you're going to average in $100 at a time at different prices. If you don't want to do it charts, you just put your orders at these low levels, these lower levels, and you know, either they fill when they fill, or you can just do a purchase, an average purchase once a month or twice a month, and basically do it that way and just see what average price you get rather than working with the levels, okay? But like I said, Bitcoin is your lead. If you're not evaluating Bitcoin, these are just a waste of time because they're just, you know, they're going to do whatever Bitcoin does, all right? Not exactly, but as we can see, Bitcoin pulled back and they're all doing the same thing. So that is Band. Let's take a look at Link. Okay, again, same situation. So as far as, you know, yeah, the trend is bullish. We want inflection points or support and resistance levels. So in fact, I have them on this chart. You're looking at 18 is a level. Here, in fact, let me draw a box there. 18 is a level. And then you have this 25 level here, which it touched earlier today. So in this situation, like if you don't have any and it bounced and you missed it, okay, no problem. For inventory purposes, if you want to put an order at that $25 level, if Bitcoin pulls back further, you're going to probably get filled at $25, okay? And you know, you want to put some orders lower as well, and to reach your objective of how much you are looking to buy all along. Now, keep something in mind. Let me go to, I was looking at weekly charts, right? I usually don't spend a lot of time with weekly charts, but let's take a look at a weekly chart of Link real quick. And they all look like this, by the way. This is a weekly chart. This is where you're buying, you know, when you're buying some of these levels, you know, you're chasing this thing, this is where you're chasing it. Why would you do that? Okay, the better levels, you know, at least a halfway pullback, 50%, something like that. That's the best place for inventory, or taking larger small bites, if that makes sense. So that's what you have to keep in mind, okay? So I'd be looking in that area as well, right? The low 20s. Now, if Bitcoin goes into that wave 4, many of these coins are probably going to see some ugly levels, like $12. It's hard to believe, but you have to be willing to take that pain. And I don't like averaging into these coins because I know like most of them are going to go nowhere in the long run. They don't really have anything to offer. So they're not high quality long-term investments. If I'm going to play the averaging game in inventory, I'd rather do it with stocks, especially stocks that pay dividends, okay? Because at least I know they're going to be around in a few years and I'm averaging into something that is quality. So, you know, you have your small allocation, you want to throw $1,000 in and you want to average in, okay, fine. Once your $1,000 is filled over a range of prices, you're in and that's that. And then you see what the market does from there, right? That's the way to really play with these. You don't want to get overexposed. So those are the levels on those. Thanks, Irina, for asking. Hey, Tarkus, okay, Litecoin, struggling a lot. I've trimmed some at 220. Nice, that's a great price to trim some. Okay, from a second trim at 250. Should I stick with the target or trim out at current price? Okay, good question. Let's take a look. Now, that 220 sell was a great sell. You should be happy about that. Here's the thing. So it's trying to stabilize. Bitcoin is your guide. If Bitcoin recovers from where it is right now, Litecoin will probably try to make that run again for 250. But, you know, you have to see how this thing behaves over the next few days, along with Bitcoin. I mean, this thing follows Bitcoin to the T, practically. Now, one thing you could consider, Tarkus, is like the middle of this range here. And you're almost there right now. I mean, this thing's at 205. So maybe you want to put some at like 210, 215-ish, again, right? And lock in some more there in case this thing doesn't retest 250. But of course you have a core position, so you don't want to blow the whole thing out, right? You want to try to let this thing run to see where, you know, how much further it can go. One thing you can consider also is a trailing stop. The trailing stop would go 2 candles behind the high. So here's your high, right? And 2 candles behind, right, is 1, 2, you're back here. Now the thing is, this new candle, it didn't make a high, so that candle's not going to count, all right? So 2 candles puts you right here. Your stop is here, right? And that's a much lower price. That's a ridiculously low price, 147. That sucks compared to where you are now. So, but that's the nature of a trailing stop. It will open up your potential by letting the market keep going and going and going in your favor. But when it stops you out, a lot of times it's at a really lousy price. All right, so just something to keep in mind. Now, if Litecoin can make the higher high, then this low over here, 185, will become your stopping point, right? Your trailing stop, which you would put manually. So I hope that answers your question. Thanks for pointing that out. Okay, Glenn. Okay, all right. So I'm going back here. Yeah, all right. This is when I had all those connection problems. All right, Hamid, could you please look at CNR? It's not a hot stock, but it has high volume March 19 call. Okay, so a stock with a lot of options, unusual options volume. How much is this thing? 1250. Okay, so here's the thing. The recent structure is bullish, right? Higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. It's funny how I have a stable stream right now. Let me just try something real quick. I'm going to try something real quick and see how this works. And if it gives me a problem, I'm going to change it on. I just have to show my face. All right, let's. If YouTube kicks me off again, then I know what the problem is. All right, so here's the thing. You do have this bullish situation. You do have a support right here. What is that? 10, basically the high 10s. And you have an inside bar developing now. This is a swing trade signal setting up. Okay, with the inside bar, you take out the high of that inside bar tomorrow, then you would have a long signal. So as far as it's, you know, the setup is developing. You can have a breakout. Now the question is, what's the risk and what's the potential, right? What is the risk and the reward? Well, you have another level up in here. What is that? Resistance around 16.25. And your risk, you can measure risk from basically the low here is 10. So you figure the stop is going to go around $10, something like that. So you're risking about $1.50 to try to make $3 maybe. So the reward risk makes sense. Okay, you're looking at possibly 2 to 1, and that's a reasonable target as well. That's a pretty reasonable expectation over here. This one might also be good for options. You said they have options volume and unusual options volume. So this one may be good for out of the money calls. But if you're going to do the calls, buy time. Buy 6 months out. Don't buy 1 month out. Because if this thing messes around and wastes time, you're never going to get anywhere, right? You need to buy time. And if you get a pop on this thing, then you know that can work out nice. I like doing options like that, by the way. I like that a lot because you don't have to tie up all the money that the stock ties up and all that other stuff. But the key is buying time and buying it cheap. Okay, so thanks for bringing that one up. Okay, let's go back. I'm going through the chat here, Okay, MZ, okay, no problem. Okay, Glenn, you sent me an email. All right, I'll get to that at some point. Oh, let's see. I'm running, okay, no problem. Paul, BTC, right. Tarkus, okay, I'm just scanning through the chat here. Okay, no problem. It happened, right, DJ, okay. So I'm just going through the chat. Okay, see, I stuck it out. You see that? And look, so far I'm not getting rejected from YouTube. All right, so just because I have a face for radio doesn't mean I don't have a, you know, I shouldn't have an unstable stream. All right, let's see here. Are you, okay, Paul, okay. You see the, well, yeah, Paul, you know what? And that right there, the wicks that you're talking about, that's a sign of a low volume exchange, okay? An exchange that, you know, maybe they're faking some of their volume, whatever it is, but you shouldn't see that. You should not see that. And that's not a good exchange to be on if the bids just vanish. And because you know what that does? All the people that have stops at decent places and all the bids vanish, those stops get taken out and those people get knocked out of their positions. I don't like that at all. Okay, that's not a stable market. That's not a stable marketplace. Okay, UVXY. All right, so DJ, yeah, well, you know what? Hold on, let's talk about that. I'm not getting out of that UVXY. I'm not getting out. So look, UVXY is at 935. I'm still in them for March. I have a few weeks left. All I need is a spike. Okay, you know, UVXY is a function of the S&P, not the NASDAQ, right? So the NASDAQ's getting beat up, NSX, right? The NASDAQ is minus 343 points, but the S&P is minus 23 points, right? So UVXY is not going to move just because the NASDAQ moves. We need this thing to move. We need the S&P to pull back dramatically, and you will see the spike. So I'm playing the probability game. If we go, you know, if we're like a week before the third week of March and whatever, hey, I'm going to lose my premiums. I don't care. You know, that's the risk that I took at the time of the trade. So I'm going to stay in. The thing is, if this thing spikes, remember, I have the $15 call and I have the $12 call. All I need this thing to spike is up to that $15 area. And most likely, at least the $12 calls will be profitable at that point. The 15s, maybe they'll be break even. But I think I'll have a chance to get out, you know. And if there's a more dramatic spike, then I should be able to get out with something. It's not going to be a big home run, but it'll be something. So I'm just going to hold on, okay? Playing the probability game. But thank you for bringing that one up. Okay, let's see here. Groupon. Yeah, Groupon was nice, Kevin. Right, Groupon. That was a nice... I'm still on the weekly chart here. Hold on a second. Let me go back to the daily chart. Yeah, so Groupon working out well there. Like I said, second target reached on Groupon, 40.5. Today's high is 41.02. So nice move there. Let me just go back to that UVXY real quick. Right, so UVXY closed at 935 today. Right, it's up 54 cents. That's, again, this thing, we need pops. We need this thing to pop. And we need the S&P to be minus 100 points or something like that, and you'll see a pop. All right, now, okay, let's continue on here. Let me go through the chat, scanning through the chat. Could you take a look at VFC and VOW3? Okay, VFC. Okay, VF Corp. And okay, you got a nice higher low over here right off the bat. General trend is bullish. I see higher lows, right? Higher lows and higher highs for the most part. You have a higher low there at 76.58. You have this little higher low that developed, you know, a few days ago, and it's trying to break higher. So this could be a good candidate for a breakout. Okay, the breakout would be here. What is that? 80 and 80, basically 80.5. So I don't know how you want to play this. There's no setup at the moment. There's no setup for a swing trade. So I wouldn't do anything with that as a swing trade right now. You can try to play that breakout. You could try to get in early and hope it breaks out. Your risk is going to be defined by this higher low at 78 even, basically. Okay? So that's what you're looking at there. Since there's no setup, you know, I would hesitate on this one. I wouldn't do anything, because what if it pulls back again and messes around? I'd rather see an inside bar or something that I could work with. So you have to figure that one out on how you want to play that. As far as options go, I don't know if this thing has options, but you know, it might be a good play, you know, where you buy some time, and this thing has potential. I mean, this thing, if it breaks out, this thing can test the 90s. So that's a decent potential. What are you risking here? What's that low? 78. And if you're buying it now at 80, so $2, you're risking about $2 to try to make 5 or 6 within reason. Okay, that makes sense. So you just have to figure out, like, you know, if you want to buy this now, it's closed now, so obviously you have to wait till tomorrow. But if there's any pullback in this thing and you get like an inside bar, that would be much better. okay? Because I just don't like to chase stuff. But good setup, nice higher low, higher high is likely. So thanks for bringing that one up. Now Val 3, let's see, Val 3. Ooh, oh, wow, okay. Nice little pop on Volkswagen there. Can't do anything with this right now. Definitely not. This is a breakout. This is what you want to see in that other one, right? In that first one that you just asked about, VFC. This is what you want to see from the higher low, right? You had the higher low, and it steamrolled right through there. You want to be in before this, right? Breakout traders are piling in now, or they were piling in. Okay, fine. But you want to be in before that, and you want to use that as a profit target. So there's nothing. I wouldn't do anything with this now. I wouldn't chase this. I wouldn't buy this breakout at all. You have to wait for a pullback now. So support levels, right? Support levels. You have a support level at 156. What is that? 94. So basically 157 area. And this old resistance should be a new support at 168.5. So those are the levels that I'd be looking at as this thing goes forward. You have to see where it pulls back to. Okay, I wouldn't chase this thing. Risk is too high at the moment. So thank you for bringing that one up. That's Volkswagen, Val 3. So good question there. All right, let's see what else we got here. See, so look at my connection working now, right? I'm telling you, it's the bandwidth situation around here with the weather. All right, let's see here. HK, try with that. Okay, CHK, right? They're okay with my face. Paul, could you try with that webcam? Right. Okay, still okay. I'm just going back through here, going back through the chat, trying to catch up on the chat. Okay, PayX MZ. Okay, PayX. Let's take a look. Paychecks. So nice trend, bullish. Let's see where the supports are. We have a support there at 82.25. You have another support here at 86.25. You have another support. Well, actually, no, resistance around there. Basically 91.25, right? This area here. And then you have resistance up in here. Okay, the peak there. So as far as swing trades go, there's no setup at the moment, and you're near this minor resistance area that it's fooling around, right? It's got this range bound situation, and it's kind of fooling around. You have the higher low that established itself a few days ago, right? You see that higher low right there? So it tried to go for the higher high, didn't make it, and now here it is trying to pop up again, right? It's up 22 cents today. So this is sort of a mixed situation. Risk is a little high here because, you know, is it going to break out or not? So I would rather, in this situation, I'd rather wait for the breakout before doing anything because you have the higher low in place, or you wait for another test of that low, okay, which is what? What is that low? 87.75, that area. So you get to like 87.50. Something around that. That might be a good place because you want to be near the range low. Look at the range low at 85.25, right? That's where the initial leg came from here. And it would be nice if it could revisit that and give you a buying opportunity. This, where it is right now, you're sort of in the middle of the range, and it could be mixed, right? Like 50-50. So I'm not too happy about that. Like that's not very compelling. I'd rather see, you know, either the breakout, and if it breaks out, then you have to define your risk from this low, which is what, 89.5. And, you know, if it runs from there, which would be what? Basically 91.5. So you're looking at about $2 of risk. The high is 99. So you should be able to at least make $2 in a reasonable way. And yeah, that's within reason. You could probably go for $3 or $4 if it can get into that range there. So those would be the events or the criteria I'd be waiting for. I wouldn't touch this thing right now on this candle. Okay? So that's that one. Thank you for bringing that one up. Okay, let me see what else we got here. CAN on the Australian Stock Exchange. All right, CAN. Let's see. On the ASX. CAN Group. Ooh, nice pullback. All right, so this looks very similar to FUV. FUV. Arcimoto. All right, look at this. So you're pulling back into this support, this old resistance, new support, and price has not stabilized yet. Okay, this is a great candidate for a swing trade long. You have a great location, and the general trend is bullish, right? Recent trend anyway, it's bullish, and this thing is a mover when it moves. So this is an Aussie, yeah, it's in Australian dollars. So at 70 cents there, that 70 cent area, It's a good location, but it needs to stabilize. And that's what you're missing at the moment. You have no stabilization. So I'd want to see an inside bar or a pin bar develop in this area, and that could be a good swing trade long. You'd have to measure your risk at that point. But you have plenty of potential here, right? If this thing even spikes halfway, you're looking at 81 cents, right? That's halfway. And if it can attempt to go back to the high, you're looking at 89 cents, right? So you have some potential there if you're risking, 10 cents or something like that to make 15 or 20, right? That makes sense, reward risk wise. And I like these setups. I like the pullbacks, especially after a sharp move. Everyone gives it back. You just need some stability. So good location, good trend, no setup. Good one for the radar. Thanks for bringing that one up. Okay, Rebecca, hi. What do you think of AG? Oh, sure, AG. I'm familiar. This AG is one of these silver. This is a short float or a low float stock, and that's why it went nuts recently. That's why it did that. And look, it looks like it's going for it again, right? It's getting a little crazy again. You can't chase these, all right? So when it's on its way like this, Rebecca, you cannot chase these. You're right inside that gap. That's gap resistance right there. Usually these gaps, the gap between these two prices, that box that I drew, can act as a resistance. So not a good place to be buying right now. If you're in it, great, you should sell some. Okay, definitely should lock some in on a candle like this. But if you're not in it, leave it alone. Wait for a pullback. This thing's been like all over the place, so it will pull back. Support is right there at 1474 area. You have one support there. The next support after that is around there, basically 17 and a quarter, around that 17 and a quarter area. Those are the places you'd be looking around, what was that, 16, well, between 16 and 17. Those are the places you're looking for a setup, okay? Those would be the attractive places, not here. So thank you for bringing that one up. By the way, when gold goes nuts, this is probably gonna go nuts too. So you have to figure out, how much risk you want to take. Is this one good for inventory? Well, yeah, if you want to average into this one, it's a silver mining stock and it will follow gold. There's a lot of fundamental reasons for this sector to be strong. And so if you want to take the small bite, okay, fine. Take the small bite if you want to take a small bite here, but you really want to put on more of those. You want to average in at lower prices, not if it keeps pushing highs, because what if you bought up in here, right? What if you bought up in here because everyone said, oh, low float, blah, blah, blah. This thing's going to be at 100 by tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. What if you bought up in here at $23 and the next day you see that it's back to 16? So that's no fun, right? Anyway, so that's what I'd say about that one. And there are more conservative stocks like the gold mining stocks too, if you're interested in that sector. Like I said, Wheaton Precious Metals and NEM, Newmont Mining. Okay, all right, Irina, okay, inventory, okay. Yeah, so anyway, those levels that I pointed out on those things that you wanted to see, Uniswap and Band and all them, yeah, those levels are inventory levels, right? They're good for inventory. You just have to wait for those levels. And again, if you want to average into something now, you start with your initial position. So again, I'm going to use $1,000 as an example. You want to put $1,000 in, okay, and you're going to split that up into $100 increments. You buy 100 at any price, $100 worth. Okay, so if you buy the top and it pulls back 50%, your $100 turns into $50, and you're like, all right, no big deal. So that's how you want to do that. Okay, all right, cool. So let me see what else we got here. AG, all right, Travel. Hey, Travel, no problem. Travel, you missed all the technical drama earlier, so you're good. Okay, MZ. Yeah, I know, MZ. I realized I was in the weekly chart, right? I fixed that. Okay, let me see what else we got here. Nero, hi. Oh, cool. I'm glad you like it. I guess you missed all the technical problems. Could you look at BAT for a quick second? Is it still bullish? Okay, I guess you're talking about basic attention token, BAT, BAT, USD. Let's take a look. Right, so again, these are all, notice, right? So Bitcoin had that nasty move, right? That 10,000 point move. And you notice all the altcoins look like this, right? They all have a big red candle in them. So that proves one thing. They're still following. And if you want to take a position in these, if it's a swing trade, again, you need to wait for Bitcoin to set up first, and then you buy your altcoin. If it's a if it's inventory or a position trade, well, then you're going to have to look at levels, right? So your question here about BAT is it still bullish? Yeah, as long as these supports hold, it's got a support, it's establishing a support right here. What is this? At 46 cents, basically. So as long as that's holding, you know, you should be okay. But I must warn you, if Bitcoin goes into that broad wave 4, all of these coins are going into the garbage. All of them, all right? Maybe you'll have some of them that do a little bit better than others, but as long as they follow the leader, I don't care what the chart says. If Bitcoin can't do it, these aren't doing it. So that's why you really, your best thing to do is to really follow that Bitcoin chart and use that as your guide. So as far as levels go, yeah, right? So that would be a level, that 46 cent area, 37 cents, high 30s. Those would be areas to accumulate as long as Bitcoin is going to still do its thing. But like I said, the initial wave on wave 4, right, on Bitcoin, the initial wave, which is wave A, if we get that, right, and this could be the beginning, this could be the very beginning of it, we don't know yet. If we get that, you know, that's a 5, wave A's are typically 5-wave structures. So we'd be looking at a small 5-wave structure, but that can easily take us back to, like, you know, the lower 40s easily. And we have a trend support at 37. So if we take out 37, that's going to be the signal that we're probably in that broad wave 4. That's how far it has to pull back to prove that. All right, so of course we'll be making decisions earlier than that, but that's where confirmation comes in. All right, so use that as your guide for all of the altcoins. So thanks for bringing that up. Let me see what else we got here. I'm going through the chat. Okay, Hassan, ADA. So ADA against BNB. BNB. So look at this, right? See that? That's what a lot of these altcoins are going to do when Bitcoin pulls back, okay? So be prepared. As far as levels go, I mean, again, let's look at some support and resistance levels. Now this is against, you know, you're looking at 2 coins here. You're looking at crosspair, right? Cardano against Binance coin. You have a support right where it is right now, but I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like these. I don't like Binance coin, and I don't like Cardano. They're, especially when they get really wild. So this chart is going to be hard to draw meaningful information from. If you want to use this area as a support, you know, which dates back, I mean, this goes all the way back to like March, right? There's price action back there around this area. You can use that as an area to consider some inventory. But if you're buying Cardano against Binance coin, I mean, you're better off buying it against the dollar, something that's stable. You're looking at 2 unstable currencies paired on top of each other. That's why you have such a dramatic move here. I remember the pound against the yen used to move like that, okay? The pound was really wild, and the yen was actually, I guess you could say it was more stable at the time. I don't know. The pair moved like it was nuts. So that's why I don't like those. When one part of the pair is unstable, the charts are much less meaningful, okay? So that's how I would judge that one right now, but I would, if you can avoid it, I would. You know, I'd rather do it with dollars, something stable, or you know, Tether or something. All right, so I hope that answers, I hope that gives you some perspective there. Dash. Okay, so Dash, yeah, right. Well, Dash went nuts with the rest of them, okay? All the hype, all the euphoria. By the way, what we're seeing in all these altcoins, this is the herd mentality, okay, taking place. It's froth. It's speculative. Instead of the penny stocks, like usually the month of January, the small caps is where all the money flows. Well, it seems like they're all flowing into these garbage altcoins, and there's no other reason for it other than it's just the herd mentality is feeding upon itself. So, you know, they've all been going crazy, and there's really no reason for it besides everyone just thinks that, oh, it's a coin, it must be good. Just like the dot-coms. Everyone bought dot-coms 20 years ago because they must be good. Well, most of them don't exist anymore, right? And that's what you're going to see here in this space as well. So as far as Dash goes, your support is around that 190, what is that? 198 area, something like that I have there, something around. So basically you can round that to 200, okay? It's just easier to round to the whole number. That's what you're looking at. So if you want to put inventory orders or bids under the market, right? You see if you wanted to tap you in like they would have tapped you in earlier today for a small bite because you don't want to get overexposed, then you can play that game. But trying to chase this thing, and no, I'm not interested in this thing at all. I'd rather buy supports or near supports if I'm going to do something with it. And Bitcoin must show its support. Okay, so if there's no setup in Bitcoin, or Bitcoin looks like garbage and it's breaking supports, I don't care what these charts look like. They're not going to do anything unless Bitcoin does it first. So those are that area, that range right there, 143 to 202. That would be a good place to start accumulating some if you want to get back into Dash. All right, but if Bitcoin goes into wave 4, like I said, these things are going to be ugly, and that's why I don't call swing trades in most of them. All right, so thanks for bringing that one up. Is it there any currently to retrace? Right, so like I said, Bitcoin's got to do its thing. I wouldn't. This thing used to be at 600 at one point. I remember, or even it might have even been 1,000. Let's go back. Right, yeah, this thing was way, way, way up there. Yeah, so you have to look at it this way. Bitcoin is at, made all-time highs at 57K. Most of these coins are nowhere near their all-time highs. So relatively speaking, if Bitcoin is at those highs and this thing is not, like Litecoin made a decent high, not all-time highs, Ethereum made all-time highs. So that's relatively strong. The rest of these, they're garbage. And when Bitcoin has that serious pullback, you're going to see these things pull back as well. They're not trading on their own. So you have to look at them from that perspective. The risk is too high. So I just avoid. So, but thank you for bringing that one up. BC, okay, we'll take a look and see how am I doing on time. I went extra today because of all those that technical situation that I had for like 30 minutes. So I'm going to wrap this up in like 5 more minutes. Okay, we'll go 5 more minutes. So let me see how I'm doing with questions. BC. All right, MZ, let's take a look. What is BC a stock? Let's see. Or is BC a coin? I'm going to go with the stock unless you correct me. So nice, strong stock here. Higher lows, higher highs, all over the place. Okay, that's good. Your next support is at 84.25, right? This area right here. You're fooling around near this range high. So I don't like it as a swing trade long candidate because it's fooling around in a range high area. And yeah, it could break out. But I don't know what the correlation is with the S&P. And if that S&P pulls back, you're in a vulnerable position. So I'd rather wait for a support. There are many stocks out there that are in much better positions for swing trades. As far as position trade goes, I don't know if you're in this thing or if you're looking to get into this thing as an investment. If you're in it from lower prices, this is a good area to reduce risk. Okay, it's a good area to distribute. If you're not in it and you want to take a small bite, okay, remember, when you're buying inventory, you can take small bites at any price. It's just you don't want to overweight at highs. If you're going to take larger bites, you want to do it at lows or supports, okay, assuming that the stock is strong. Now, the trend is clearly bullish. If this thing takes out 83, this 83 support, if it takes it out, then you may be looking at a broader pullback. And I would expect a scenario like that if the S&P starts to get hammered, right? If this thing is following the S&P. So just something to keep in mind. Remember, when it comes to stocks, you want to use the S&P as your guide unless it's not a highly correlated stock, right? Sectors like CG, like cannabis, for example, they're not highly correlated. So you can actually rely on them to do more of their own thing. They're going to be driven more on news. Okay. Thank you for bringing that up. I hope that gives you some perspective there. Let me see. Nero, I don't remember how I found this channel. Okay, cool. Okay, all right, no problem. Thanks, I appreciate that. Okay, Hassan, MSFT, weekly. All right, Microsoft. So, ooh, look at this. Maybe this is part of the NASDAQ problem today. Let's see, how did the NASDAQ close? Let me take a look real quick. Ooh, on its 350 points. Interesting. All right. So, Microsoft, gap lower and closing week. Now, let's take a look at the weekly. You said want to see weekly? All right, here's weekly. So support and resistance levels on Microsoft. First of all, this is a lousy candle for Microsoft, number one. Number two, you're at a support level, at a weekly support level, which dates back, a few weeks. That level happens to be 266, basically, right? And there's no stability at the moment, at least not on this chart. So weeklies are not really the best chart for swing trades because it takes forever for the candle to close and all that stuff. It's really good more for levels and a sense of momentum. And so right now, but today's Monday, so you have a whole week. We have to see how this candle is. You have to see how this candle is on Friday. Is it lower than the support? Then that's not good. Does it find support around this area and give you a double bottom? Well, that would be good for the general stock market. But if the stock market sells off, this is probably going to break the support. Okay, so anyway, so it's at support, and that's all we can say about it right now. If we go to the daily chart, right, and we look at that situation, hold on, let's get that situation back up here. Oh, hold on a second, hold on, I'm on Wayfair. Sorry. I just spoke about Wayfair for 2 hours, and it was supposed to be Microsoft Weekly. Okay, I got you, hold on. Let's go back to the weekly Microsoft. I'm sorry. It's been a long day. All right. So let's go back to Microsoft. Support and resistance. Support is 230 on Microsoft. Weekly support at 230. Okay? And you closed today at 234. So you're on your way to that support. So I wouldn't touch this thing for one until it goes to the support. And for two, if it breaks the support, you got problems. Now this thing kind of went over, broke out, and now it's pulling back. So that old resistance area is likely to act as a support. The question is, what does the S&P do? If the S&P sells off hard, this will probably break the support. That's the point that I wanted to get to. And I'd be looking for the next support around the middle of that range, which is basically 220, right? The 220 area. And if it clears that, you're looking at the range low, okay, which is around 208, something like that. So just a few things to keep in mind there, all right? There's nothing to do in Microsoft right now. I would not touch this thing. Plus, you have to see how it plays out for the rest of the week. But those are your levels. That makes sense. Okay, let me move on because I spent 3 hours on Wayfair there. Sorry about that. All right, Nero, kind of answered my dash question on bat answer. Oh, okay. Okay, no problem. All right, so Nero, we'll take a look at Kellogg, and then I'm going to wrap this thing up, all right? Okay. So, hey, everyone, thanks for sticking it out with me with all those tech problems. Again, it's the ISP, and I don't have control over that. But as you can see, we're okay now. So here's Kellogg. Bearish trend, right? Lower highs, lower lows, all over the place. So that's bad, right? I mean, if you're looking for longs. You have resistance right here. Usually something that is strong breaks resistances. It doesn't hold them. So far, I mean, this thing is, as long as it's below 62, I don't have a lot of confidence in it. You have a double bottom, which, now a double bottom doesn't guarantee a reversal, right? So you have a double bottom at 56.94. So that's, if you were in at that price, okay, cool. That's a higher risk trade. It's counter trend because the thing is generally bearish, but it could be reversing. That doesn't guarantee that it will break the resistance though. So you have an inside bar today. Okay, this is the daily chart. If you take out this inside bar high tomorrow, you have a long signal. But the thing is, the long signal is right in the middle of this range. So not the best location, right? You could have done better if you were in earlier, of course, after the fact. But so you have a couple of choices. You could wait to see if it retests that support for a possible swing trade. But the thing is, there's a greater chance that it breaks the support if this lower high that's in the middle of the range here, if this holds, okay? Lower highs lead to lower lows. So I don't like it as a long candidate. I definitely don't like it as a position trade. Maybe if they pay dividends, I don't know. But if you're going to play that game, if you're going to take small bites, at least do the small bites on new lows if you're going to play that game. But usually you don't want to play that game with something that's making lower lows. You want to wait until it stabilizes first. Now look, that trend that I'm talking about, just so when we go back to the April low, that trend could be still correcting this move from the April low, right? But the thing is, the resistances are still in place. That's what I don't like about it. So as a swing trade, like I said, not good yet. Position trade, if you want to play the game, buying inventory, buy it on the lows, because at least you're buying it at much more attractive prices in something that is likely to reverse again near that low. Okay, cool. All right, guys, so and girls, I'm going to wrap this up now. I appreciate your patience with all the tech stuff, but look, it worked out okay. I told you I'm stubborn. That's why I stuck with it. BTC, USD. So let's leave you on Bitcoin. So again, for those that are asking about the altcoins and all that stuff, this is your leader. All right, and by the way, we're going to be doing Talking Markets tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. For those of you that are new, come by, check it out. All right, Andrew comes on, Henry comes on. We talk a little bit more fundamentals. They usually have different perspective and different stocks to talk about compared to what I look at, because I'm much more short-term oriented than they are. They're more long-term oriented, especially Henry. So there's a lot of insight that you could pick up from that show. So check it out here at 4 p.m. Make sure you register for this channel so you get the email, you get the YouTube email. And if you like this video, please press the like button. Now that you can see my face, you have to like me a little bit more, right? So please press the like button. All right. So I'm going to leave you with Bitcoin. Again, it's recovering for the moment, but we don't know how it's going to close. We still have a few hours, and it may close like this, which is a bullish pin bar, sort of, right? You got a long wick on that thing. And a bullish pin bar in such a location could lead to a higher high. It's possible. So just something to keep in mind. If everyone goes berserk again, you know, the next inflection point is 66K on this thing. So when that is occurring, if it's starting to drive like that, you can't get overly emotional or overly like, oh, I'm missing out, I'm missing out. You have to have your plans in advance. You have to know your levels in advance, and you have to have, if it's inventory, you should have your orders in advance, properly sized. If it's a swing trade and there's no setup, there's no setup. And that's, you know, those setups protect us from a lot of false trades, a lot of would-be stop-outs, a lot of problems they protect us from. People get upset when the market moves without us and we're not in it and this and that. I understand it's frustrating, but you're not going to catch everything, right? The rules are what make the money. The rules are the produce the performance, not reacting and chasing markets. That only produces random outcomes, just like a casino gambler, okay? When you go to the casino and you see these people, they're playing the slot machine. Is there such thing as a professional slot machine player? We all know that there isn't. So why do people keep putting money in the slot machine? Because it gives you hope. The guy next to you just won. He just won $10,000. So this machine, I know this machine is going to be hot. It's the same thing when you act emotionally in markets. The market is like a big casino. So you can't play, if you play that game, you will get paid off randomly, just as your friends may be. They may, oh, I made 10,000% this month, and oh, I need to make that too. Right. You're going by random results. These people are not going to be making money in the long run unless they are a professional trader. That's a different story. Okay, but a lot of people that are making money right now are not. So that money that they're making are like, they're going to give it back when the market gets ugly, right? And that's what separates the actual real traders from people that think they know what they're doing. So the gambling mentality, avoid it, right? And the way you avoid that is you have a plan, you have rules, and you follow the rules. That is what our swing trade strategy is based on. So I don't care if this thing runs to 60K. I don't care if all the altcoins run to 10,000 each. If there's no setup, I'm not in them, right? I follow the rules, and that's it. So that keeps me out of a lot of trouble. Okay, same with the stocks, same with everything. Inventory, position trading, different story, but it has its own set of rules and its own way to manage risk. All right, so I'm going to leave you with that. A few things to think about. If you guys have any questions and I missed your question or whatever, come to our free chat room. We do have a free chat room at greenbridgeinvesting.com. And check out our packages. All the information is at the description portion of this video. The links, everything is there, so you can check that out. We have a 7-day free trial. By the way, for those of you that sign on, the 7-day free trial automatically starts when you sign on and you go through the whole process or whatever of registering for the active investor package. You start off with 7 days free. If you stay on after those 7 days, then you get charged. If you cancel, then you don't get charged. Okay, so that's how that works, because people send me an email. They say, hey, I don't know how to get to the 7-day free trial. It starts automatically. So I just wanted to leave you with that. Okay, great. Everyone, thank you so much for sticking it out with me, asking great questions, and all that stuff. And link natural law. I don't know if you're talking about Link USD. I went over it earlier. You could just rewind the video or rewind. If you can go back, just go back on the video. You'll see earlier I talked about Link USD. If you're talking about GreenBridge links, just go to the bottom. Yeah, I talked about Chainlink earlier. Just go back to the earlier portion of the video. I talked about Uniswap, Chainlink, and Band in one section. So if you just go back maybe about what 20 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that, you'll find my analysis on there. Okay, so I'll leave you with that. Thank you for asking the question. Again, hey everyone, come to our free chat room if I missed your question. Other than that, thank you again for all your participation and sticking it out with me. I really appreciate it. I'm going to leave you now. Check out Talking Markets tomorrow, and on Thursday I'll probably stream this again. Okay, so I'll just make sure you're registered here and you get the email notification from YouTube. All right, everyone, enjoy the rest of your evening or your day or wherever you are in the world, and thank you so much for watching.